And my only negative is I felt like the storyline was, I guess for lack of a better word, kind of predictable. Hey, what's going on, folks? Yes, another episode of Just My Opinion with Ryan. Y'all seen YouTube before, so no need to get into a long, drawn-out intro. If this is your first time here, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for those who are returning viewers, thank you, and welcome back. Let's get right into it. I guess maybe I'm fairly late, even though it just came out this past Friday. But I did see Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness finally. Saw it Monday, matter of fact. So when you're watching this would have been just a couple days ago when I saw it. Pardon me. But nevertheless, overall, I thought it was a great movie overall. Although I did have some pros. Well, let me take it back. I wouldn't say a great movie. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool movie overall. You know, I got way more pros than cons. And let's just get right into it, man. We'll go with the pros first. I mean, of course, we all know that a Marvel movie will not disappoint when it comes to like the graphics and just the action sequence and all that bells and whistles. I mean, the graphics, the cameos, as I mentioned, the fighting scenes, all of that was wonderful. I mean, from the jump, which is another thing I like about Marvel. Sometimes from the jump, you know, they'll just throw the viewers into action. You know, they did it with so many movies in the past. You name it, more than likely, you just jump right into action. Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness was no different with that. So, yes, the main the main pro in my opinion was just they'll never disappoint with the bells and whistles. Like I said, they gave you all the graphics, the fighting scenes, the cameos, we got it. But the MVP from start to finish from this movie for me, gotta be Scarlet Witch, man. She was amazing. That Olsen lady is one bad lady. She can definitely pull it off. She killed it. And that's another thing I really liked. Although she's the villain of this movie, when you look at her story from the first time she's introduced all the way up until this recent movie, you know, I just love just the journey that character has overall. I mean, when she first appears in the Age of Ultron, she loses her brother. You know, you fast forward to a few more movies, she ends up losing the love of her life, which is Vision. You know, you fast forward to Disney Plus, she tries to, even though it was wrong, she creates her own world by, you know, hypnotizing people, making them captive in the whole WandaVision thing. And in this fantasy world that she created, she is reunited with Vision, and she has two imaginary kids. We get all that. So, nevertheless, even her imaginary perfect life is taken away from her. So, that's one thing I really appreciated. Just the journey that you go through from Scarlet Witch. You literally see her go from hero to villain. And that's the main reason why. Like I said, she just movie by movie, she's losing loved ones and family members and even, you know, fantasy children. You know, but nevertheless. So that's what I liked about it. It's almost like, yes, I'm a hero, but you know what? More and more, no one really cares about what Scarlet Witch wants. And so by this movie, it's just like, look, I'm here to take what's mine. I don't care what y'all say. I want to go to this multiverse and see my kids. And you know how it goes. A mother will move heaven and earth to get to her children. And that is literally what Scarlet Witch is doing throughout this whole movie. Another thing I liked about it, in addition just to that journey that Scarlet Witch takes, like this has to be, you know, I think I read somewhere, and I don't see how you can disagree. This definitely has to be one of the most violent Marvel movies you'll ever see. And to the point where I think the only thing missing, the cherry on top for me was, yo, you might as well just make this rated R with all the violence they had. I mean, I'm with it. I love that type of stuff. I come from that horror movie background, kind of a horror movie snob in a sense, meaning like if a horror movie doesn't have the rated R by next to the title, more than likely I won't see it. But because it's Marvel, of course it's going to be PG-13. But I still was very entertained with the violence. Like I mentioned, this is one of the things to where if it was rated R, you wouldn't be surprised. And also, as I mentioned, since I'm a horror movie buff, I really enjoyed just the horror movie factor that was in this movie. I mean, you got Scarlet Witch, pretty much just like the big bag monster of this whole movie. She is coming, reaching through reflections and puddles, and she climbed through the one scene with the little gong, and she's moving almost like something from The Ring, and so all those type of and I feel like that might have been like an ode to movies like The Ring or anything where you moving funny after you're coming out of an object. I mean, damn. I can't even front. There was a few parts that I jumped. I definitely jumped. So it was just dope, man. I all that was so great, man. And as I mentioned earlier, the cameos as well. Professor X. You got my man Jim from The Office playing Fantastic Four. It was just amazing. I loved all of that type of stuff, man. I loved the alternate universe. They had Captain Marvel's ally. The ally is actually Captain Marvel in this one. So I just loved all of that stuff. I mean, as I mentioned, that whole thing was just an ultimate high for me. I mean, we could go. This thing would be like an hour long if I talked about all of my highlights from the movie in terms of the pros. Damn it. I think my favorite one, I will share one. My favorite part was towards the end where, what's it called? I think it's called day walking. Whatever the term is when like Scarlet Witch or Doctor Strange had the ability to possess, their own person in a different multiverse or in a different, world. And I know it sounds confusing if you haven't seen it. Well, if you haven't seen it, you probably shouldn't watch this spoiler video anyway. But I really dug the whole twist that Doctor Strange did. He actually possessed a zombie or a dead version of himself and was still doing his Doctor Strange thing as a Doctor Strange zombie. He got black ghouls and ghosts following him and he's using them as weapons. All of that was just amazing to me, man. And of course, that's another thing, just to jump back to why Scarlet Witch was such a important piece of this movie. I mean, damn it, man. The only way she was defeated was because she decided to end herself. Nobody was shutting Scarlet Witch down. That just shows you how powerful it was. And if you remember, if she didn't get interrupted, if it was just like a fair one-on-one fight, like just squared up, Scarlet Witch would have even defeated Thanos by herself. So all that was just dope, man. I just loved how powerful Scarlet Witch is. Yes, so all the bells and whistles and the high praise, okay? But some people might hate me for it. My main and my only con, or the thing I didn't like about the movie, was kind of the storyline, to be honest with you. I mean, other than Scarlet Witch kind of putting the movie on her back and saving the day as far as just making it interesting for me. Like the storyline was kind of not predictable, but the storyline was kind of what we've seen this before. Perfect example. Also, I do love, side note, I do love how just the versatility or diversity in the movies, like America Chavez in this movie. I love that. I love how they're showing more leaning, just catering to the LGBT community. Having, America Chavez has two moms in this movie. I love all of that. But as I mentioned, I felt like overall the storyline was kind of so-so, or just something we've seen before. For example, just like in most, not most, but just like in certain Marvel movies, or yeah, just period. I mean, we've seen that before, to where, oh, this person, she has powers, but for some reason she don't know how to control them until miraculously she has this, come to Jesus moment, and she finds a way to use her powers. We've seen that before. We've seen I'm chilling on a regular day, and then I gotta fight a monster, and I run into a kid, and now I gotta save this kid and kind of, take this kid under my wing. See the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus, kind of the same plot. See, the most recent Spider-Man movie that came out, No Way Home, same thing, except Doctor Strange taking another young superhero under his wing. Of course, Peter Parker clearly knows how to use his powers, but you get my point. You've seen some of the main points of the storyline before, especially within the Doctor Strange movie. Like, one of the themes, in my opinion, is almost like, damn, as fate would have it, this is the only way shit's got to go down. And then somehow Doctor Strange, he goes down that same path that looks like it's the only way to go down, but he puts a twist at the end. Stuff like that. We've seen all that type of stuff before. And so that's what I mean when I say Scarlet Witch was kind of the saving grace, period, for this movie. And I think like the second best saving grace part of it was when they went to that one alternate world, and that's where you see who made up the Illuminati, from, like I said, Mr. Fantastic, Professor X, Captain Marvel. You got Captain Carter instead of Captain America. So yeah, just all of that was just amazing. So that's really what made it. So overall, yes, of course, definitely go see the movie. If you haven't already, I highly recommend it. And my only negative is I felt like the storyline was, I guess for lack of a better word, kind of predictable. It's something that we've seen before outside of Scarlet Witch just saving the movie for me. So once again, and Sam Raimi was the director, of course. Amazing director, as I mentioned, amazing effects. But that's just the only thing I thought. I thought the storyline could have been a little stronger. And that's that. This is just my opinion. Love it or hate it. Peace.